Well, here I am in my deer stand that I have here in the back part of my property, and this right here is kind of where usually my dad hunts here during bow season. And there's a thing about hunting that it sometimes can be very difficult. It's called sitting still, not moving, not making any sound. And if you know me at all, you know that is not something that comes naturally to me. So what do? Well, for bow season, you cover yourself with camouflage. And you make sure nothing can be seen, and you slowly wait for a deer to come by. Not just any deer, but the deer that you really want. Whichever one you saw on the trail cam or one that you picked out, you're just waiting for that good deer to come by. But I found that when I'm hunting, I usually gun hunt, so I put on my hat and I bundle up and I'm bright orange, so the only thing that I can do with stealth is to sit still and quiet. And there's something in me after going so hard for the week and for the last month or two, whatever it is, it's really hard for me to slow down. And there comes a point when your toes starting to get a little numb, we start feeling a little bit impatient, and you're thinking, deer, just get over here. Just come. I'm ready to go in for breakfast, or I'm ready to warm up. I'm done with this. But sometimes you're out there in the wilderness in the quiet. Really, there's nothing going on. Maybe a squirrel here or a couple birds over there. And you just kind of relish that moment. And you find it a time of peace. So my question for you is, when is it when you sit still and nothing happens? Are you okay with it? And when is it when you're not okay with it? Because if we can answer that question, we can get a better understanding of this descriptor of the fruit of the Spirit, which is patience. See, in Galatians 3 verses 22 and 23, it says, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance or patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law." Today we talk about patience, or as the NIV translates it, forbearance. Bearance, what's that? I'm willing to carry a burden of some. I'm willing to bear something upon me. And it kind of is what we feel like when our patience is starting to be tested, isn't it? There's a weight, there's a heaviness, I don't want to deal with this anymore. And when we become impatient, we want to unload that bearing. We want to unload that burden. We want to unload that thing that's causing stress. And we just want to dump it like a big old dump truck and move on with our day. And yet here in the fruit of the Spirit, we find that the fruit that we are to be is to be described as patient. How can we have patience when we start feeling that burden, that heaviness, that test? Because forbearance means patience. It also means a little bit of tolerance, putting up with something you don't like. So how do we do that? Well, I believe patience is this. I believe patience uses the previous 3 descriptions that we have of the fruit of the Spirit. You see, the patience for me is this: taking the love, joy, and peace and applying it to our timeline. You see, the only difference between patience and love and joy is now I'm applying it to my timeline. Because when do I get impatient? I get impatient when things don't go the way I want them to. I get impatient when things don't happen as quickly as I want them to. I get impatient when I'm forced to deal with something that I didn't plan on doing it. You see, patience is directly correlated to our expectations. Our time expectations, our relational expectations. It's kind of our timeline of how we think things should happen. We have a friend. I think by now we should have gotten past this deal that we're dealing with from the past. I think in that relationship, I think we should be further along. Or I think they should have been able to deal with this struggle, and I'm sick of talking about it. My patience is up because they're not meeting my expectations, my timeline. So patience is understanding how we take this love that God has given to us, that we're to give to others, how to handle this joy that transcends everything around us to where now I can see things joyfully rather than as something taken away. And peace, I can rest in God's promises and have this peace. And if I have this peace, joy, and love, now I have to apply that to my timeline and to my expectations. The psalmist gives us a little bit of this understanding in Psalm 37. And in this, I really think it talks about just our patience when it comes to our faith, and also how we treat others with patience in regards to our faith. So let's start with verse 3. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will do this. He will make your righteous reward shine like the dawn, your vindication like the noonday sun. This sounds amazing. This is exactly what I expect from my faith. I expect that when I trust God and do good, I'm going to be safe. I'm going to have a peaceful life. And then it says, take delight in the Lord, and he will fulfill the desires of your heart. The things that I really want, God's going to meet. Commit your way to the Lord. Commit doing the things that you want to do for God. And it says, he will do all these things. And then it says this, he'll make your righteous reward shine like, I'll get a reward. Not only that, I'll be vindicated in all the times I've been wrongly accused. And this sounds so good to me. Isn't this what you want? This is like great. But unfortunately, the scripture doesn't stop there. It continues on in verse 7. It says this, be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wickedness. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret. It only leads to evil. For those who are evil will be destroyed, but those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land. Do you see what's going on? Here's this whole first part saying, commit to the Lord, commit to his way, and he's going to do the things you want. He's going to give you the desires of your heart. He's going to vindicate you. He's going to reward you. He's going to do all these things. And we're like, yes, yes. Then it says, be still and wait. Be still. And wait. That's hard. Because it says, while you're being still and waiting, you're going to see other people find success and they're doing it the wrong way. They're not even trying to honor God. And now we come into this conflict of, God, why are they having a better life than I am? Why are things going for them when I'm doing your will and I'm doing everything you want? And it is frustrating. And we get impatient. But it says, be still. Wait for the Lord. In fact, in verse 8, I like how it says, don't fret. Don't become impatient. It only turns to evil. It's only going to cause a problem for you. Because in the end, your reward's coming. Your vindication's coming. God will fulfill the desires of your heart. It's all going to come. It's going to come because we're going to keep hoping in the Lord and not fall victim to our impatience, which will make us second guess God, his love, his peace, and his joy. You see, we have to apply love, joy, and peace to our timeline. And when we do those things, all of a sudden, we start to experience a patience. But when do we not experience patience? When things don't go our way. So my question for us today is this. When things don't go my way, what are we going to do? How are we going to have this presence of patience when things don't go my way? Well, we're going to start with this. When things don't go my way, I am going to be okay. That's what the psalmist is trying to say. When other people succeed, when other things are happening, when other people are attacking us, when things aren't going our way, when it comes to health, a relationship, or finances, or anything in between, guess what he says? Put your hope in him. He's still going to vindicate you. He's still going to reward you. He's still going to give you the desires of your heart, and he's still going to keep you safe. So be still. Wait for him. You're going to be okay. There's so many times we get caught up in the moment that we don't think like God does in his time and in his moments. We get caught up in our moment and we just start to melt and the anxiety just overtakes us and we get upset You see, when peace is taken away from us, so often we melt with anxiety, but when impatience comes upon us, I think we react with anger. We start to react harshly. We just kind of put an end to it right now, just like that dump truck. We just dump it off and move on. And yet here we find we don't need to do that because we're going to be okay. So when things don't go my way, I'm going to be okay. I don't need it in the now. We're used to that. Jennifer and I, we've been Amazon Prime members. And ever since COVID, what used to show up in a day? No way. Ain't gonna happen. The shipping's horrible. When it comes to our internet in rural Wisconsin, if I want to stream that movie, it might not happen tonight. Or I want to see that video on Facebook, it might not happen right now. I have to wait for when people aren't on. It's like the old party line, but now it's with internet. And sometimes we just get used to it now. I'm hungry. I'm going to call. I'm going to go through drive-thru. I'm going to go get the things that I want. Now. And God says, not now. And we get frustrated. People say, not now. And we get upset. And when we do that, we forget that we're okay. That the things that are bothering us really are so small in comparison to the greatness and the magnificence of God's salvation and His love for us. So the first step when things aren't going my way, we remember, I will be okay. The second thing we do when things don't go my way or your way, I must remember I chose God's way over my way. You see, when I became a Christian, when I became a follower of Jesus Christ, I made the decision, I'm going to choose God's way over my way, which means I'm now going to choose God's priorities over my priorities. And what are God's priorities? We're going to look at Colossians 3 a little bit today. We're going to look at just the first 3 verses. It says this, since then you have been raised with Christ. Set your hearts on things above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things above, not on earthly things, for you died, and your life is now hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you will also appear with Him in glory. When Christ, who is your life, I've been raised with Christ. I'm seated with Him. I'm with Him. He is mine, and I am His. And I have a connection with Jesus that nobody can take away. Not even the person at the grocery store that checks out groceries too slow. Or the person at the customer service counter that keeps asking questions that you think any person with common sense should figure out. Yeah, I'm still going to be okay. And I'm going to choose God's way over my way. And what's God's way? God's way is for us to accept God's life as our priority. And when we do that, what happens? We need to set our mind on things above. We need to put our hearts on things above. We need to make sure our priorities are based upon God's priorities. And what are God's priorities? God's priorities is that your life is transformed into His. God's priority is not that you meet your 2 o'clock deadline. God's priority is not that you get your checklist done. God's priority is that your heart and your mind are continually being shaped and molded so that you start to think and act like the mind of Christ. That when people see you, they see another Jesus in this world who fights for justice, who fights to love people, who stands up for the oppressed, and who loves people who are unlovable, who seeks God as their place of wisdom. That's what God wants us to be. And sometimes the process for us to start to transform and become that person, sometimes it is slow, because sometimes we're not too quick. Sometimes we're stubborn. So God's priority is not what you're going to do today. Yeah, God's priority is your mind and your heart. Your mind and your heart becoming like His. Which means I need to look at life that way. I need to look at life, that my life is to be transformed. And so it's a journey. It's a process. And it's not immediate. So when things don't go my way, I'm going to be okay. And the second thing is, I must remember I chose God's way over my way, which means I'm not on a journey to resolve everything today. I'm on a journey with God, so my heart and my mind are shaped into His. And so in the midst of those difficult times, in the midst of those struggles, in the midst of when you're fighting against your emotions to keep them in check, you're reminding yourself, my goal is not to resolve this. My goal is to follow God's way and do things His way and allow your heart. So what are you learning in the midst? What are you learning about yourself? What do you learn about God? That sometimes His ways take longer, but they're better. So the first thing is, when things don't go my way, I'm going to be okay. The second thing is, when things don't go my way, I will remember that I chose God's way over my way. The next thing, the third thing, when things don't go my way, I must remember I now do things God's way. I now do things God's way. I just don't go ahead. You know, when you get, I remember getting the kids' toys, and there's an instruction manual, and there's all these loose pieces everywhere, like a crib or a playground. There's all these little pieces, and what do? You look at the picture and you're like, yeah, I think I got this. And you start putting it together and you're just going at it and you're into it about a half hour, and all of a sudden, wait, that doesn't make sense. And you keep working on it, and finally you have to succumb to the reality that you really don't know how to do it. And you need to go to the instruction manual, you need to open it up, and you need to undo all these things so that you can do it the right way. And you're just frustrated, and the impatience starts to overwhelm you. But what would have happened if you had taken that instruction manual and you just would have opened it up? Some of you do that right now, and God bless you. That's wonderful. Sometimes I think I can do it quicker. But I'm learning that sometimes it's better just to go straight to the instruction manual and know, what am I supposed to do? I think too often we're so used to reacting to the people around us and our situations because it's not happening now. They're not doing the things. Our timeline is not God's timeline. Therefore, I get impatient. I think God wants us to look at the instruction manual and see what happens. And in Colossians 3, here's some instruction for us. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, that's us as followers of Jesus. Now this is what we're supposed to do. It says, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another as any of you has a grievance against someone. Did you catch that? We have to be gentle with the words. We have to be kind. We have to be humble. Our perspective is not the most important one. We have to be compassionate. We have to be patient. And then there's that bearing word, that forbearance. We have to bear one another's burdens. That's forbearance. I'm going to carry your problems instead of condemn you for that, instead of judging you for it, instead of saying, would you grow up? I'm impatient with you. We bear one another's burdens, and we forgive each other, and we move forward. You see, I have to remember that when I am starting to get frustrated with life and with people, that I am, first of all, remind myself I'm okay. Second of all, I must remember that I chose God's way over my way. So now this becomes more of a learning experience about how I'm going to follow Jesus in the midst of this tension rather than how I'm going to fix the problem. The third way is I must remember I now have to do it God's way, which means when I'm getting overwhelmed with this frustration and it's starting to build up inside, I need to respond with love, with humility, with compassion and gentleness and kindness. I have to help bear their problems rather than condemning them and forgive them for it. You see, it continues on. Forgive as the Lord forgave you, and over all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace. The peace of Christ is ruling in your heart. See, it goes back to I'm okay. See, it goes back to I'm going to choose God's way over mine. So because of I'm choosing God's priorities over mine, and his priority is to change my life so I can enjoy the love, joy, and peace that he gives to me. Now that's going to flow through me, and now I'm going to be able to have patience and space for others. I'm going to do it God's way. And the final thing we need to do when things don't go my way, I must remember God's way is for everyone. That's a tough one, isn't it? I must remember God's way is for everyone. God's way is what? Yeah, it's easy to jump right on the third point. God's way is for everybody to show love, and everybody to be peaceful, everybody to be compassionate, everybody to be generous, and everybody to be kind. But how can they have that kindness and that generosity and the compassion and the love that God wants them to have if they don't have a relationship with Jesus? They have hurt. They have frustration. They have unforgiveness in their hearts. They have all these things. How can they live out that way without the benefit of having a relationship with Jesus? You see, we can start this whole journey with patience by understanding I'm okay. Because I have Jesus, and once I understand I'm okay, I've set my priorities saying God's way is better, so I'm going to trust in that, and I find peace in that. And then I'm going to start doing the things that God wants me to do. I'm going to choose his way over my way. But not everybody understands that. You see, God has said, by you showing patience, you are showing God's love to others. At the very end of Colossians 3, it says this, let the message of Christ dwell among you richly as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom through the psalms, hymns, songs from the saints, and the Spirit. Colossians 3:16 and 17 says this, let the message of Christ dwell among you richly as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom through psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit, singing to God with gratitude in your heart. And whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. You see, sometimes we just need to stop and understand God's priorities. God's priority is that you will be molded into his likeness, but God's priority is also that you share the message of Christ with everyone. You see, if Jesus only went by his schedule and his checklist, we would never have the story of Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was this guy, he wanted to know about just Jesus, he was interested, but he really had a tough life. I mean, he was rich, he was wealthy, he had all this stuff, but inside there's so much turmoil and hurt, and he just was looking for a way, a better way, and so he wanted to hear about Jesus, and he's walking through, and here's Jesus going along, and he sees Zacchaeus up in the tree because he's a short little guy, he wants to see Jesus. And Jesus stops his whole entourage. There's this great big parade welcoming him. And he stops, he says, Zacchaeus, I'm going to your house today. And he spends the day with Zacchaeus and all of his buddies who really don't follow Jesus. They've never chose God's way. They don't think they're okay because they don't have a relationship with Jesus. They've never chosen God's way over their way. And he stops and he hangs out for a day with Zacchaeus. Because Jesus knows that a priority of God's is not just that we're molded, but that we share the message of God, that he loves you and he wants to give you the love, joy, peace, even the patience. There's another story of Bartimaeus. You know, they're yelling, this blind guy, he's like, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. And all the people are like, be quiet, Bartimaeus, you're nobody. Nobody cares about you. And Jesus hears it and he stops everybody, even his disciples who have just told Bartimaeus to be quiet. Says, bring him over here, and he stops his day to help him out. Jesus sees the priorities of helping people know how much he loves them. And it's our job to share that. You see, if I want to change the way I perceive life and my priorities and people, I need to understand that I must remember God's way is for everyone. And if they don't have God's way, then I need to show them God's way. Through the way I think, through the way I act, even through the way I speak, and letting people know that Jesus has a plan for them, a wonderful plan. You see, there's so many parts to patience, but it all comes down to the timeline of how we interject God's love, God's joy, and God's peace into our timeline. And we want to share that. So when things don't go your way and you're ready to be frustrated and impatient, remember, you're going to be okay. The second thing is, remember, you chose God's way over your way, which means you have to start asking yourself, what am I learning from this? What does God want to shape in me so that I can become more like Him? The third thing is, when things don't go my way, I must remember I now do things God's way. I chose to do things God's way, which means now I'm going to be gentle and kind because that's what He expects of me. And the final thing is, when things don't go my way, I must remember God's way is for everyone. So not only am I being shaped, but this is an opportunity for me to show love, but maybe even introduce someone to Jesus. You see, it all comes back to how do you prioritize? Is it complete a checklist? Is it being happy and satisfied or making everybody else happy and satisfied? Or are you learning what you need to learn from God today? Did I act the way that God wanted you to act today? And did you put your priorities first as God would want you? Those are the questions we need to say when life gets frustrating. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we are so thankful that you are a God that just loves us. So Lord, help us go back to Psalm 37 where we just need to be still and wait patiently. And as jittery as we might see and as jumpy as we might become, Lord, help us understand that sometimes we just need to be still and wait for you. So Lord, thank you for making us okay. Thank you for being willing to mold and shape us so we can have the life you desire us, the life that is full and abundant. So help us learn through our daily interactions. And Lord, help us do the things your way when it comes to people and situations. And Lord, help us see that everybody needs your way. So may we not only be an example, but may we be a spokesperson for you, introducing others to the amazing life you have for them. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Do you need a relationship with Jesus? That's the first step in all this. Is it time for you to give in to Jesus and make Him Lord so that you can have the love, the joy, the peace, and even be able to have the patience when it comes to those things in life that frustrate you most? Jesus invites you. Maybe it's time for you to answer. And for some of you, you have Jesus as the Lord of your life, but you still get frustrated. If that's the case, I invite you to start thinking about how God can mold you rather than how you can mold your schedule. And if you start thinking that way, may God's peace come over you in even those difficult situations. I hope you grow through this, and I hope that we may reflect the beautiful love, joy, and peace that God has given to each one of us in our timeline and in our relationships.